Okay, good morning. Long time no see. Whether anyone's been interested in where I've been, it has been February of 25 since my last video, and I've been MIA since. I've done a couple races. I've done pretty poorly in all of them, but I'm now back. I've got some things to share, and this is going to be a little bit different to some of my previous videos. Previously, I was fortunate enough to have my brother helping me film, but as he progresses with his career, sort of has less time available for unpaid slave labor. So we're going to test out a little vlog today. We'll see how it performs. If people enjoy it, I'll continue, but I've been really wanting to get back on the YouTube for a while, because I don't know, I do like the videos. I've gotten more comfortable watching my old videos and seeing myself on the camera, and I think it'd just be cool through this point in my life to have a collection of videos about what I'm doing and hopefully give you guys some entertainment. So we're going to try this today. I've literally never vlogged. I've only ever done YouTube videos where my brother was filming or I was being filmed by a third person, because I was trying to have it be as minimally invasive on training as possible, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So it is Sunday morning right now, getting ready for a, double threshold brick session. So we're going to be on the TT bike, which I am just getting set up now with the bum ass steel factory wheels. We're gonna go 10 by 5 minutes at Mount Dandenong, so it'll be uphill threshold, but I'm gonna try and do it all in the TT. And then we'll come home, very, very soft brick session, quick snack, quick shower, get ready, straight to the track for what I think will be 6 by 2K. So I am going to get the bike ready now. Bottles are on. I just need to pump up the tires, check the batteries, and then I'll get changed and we will be on the road. And what we'll do the first session, and then on the way to the track, I will give you guys an update for where I've been, why I've been a bit silent, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoy the video, and let's get stuck in. I'll talk to you guys soon. So we've got the Lactate ready to go, the Lactate Pro. However, I will say, because it's super cold, I am not totally convinced that I will actually be taking Lactate. We'll see. I'll probably definitely take a measure at the end, even though one bit of data is not that useful. Lactate's more valid as a trend, but I'll take the one data point at the end just to see roughly where I'm sitting at. But when it's this cold and I'm gloved up, like, it's just a bit of a faff, to be honest. So we'll see if we even use it. Definitely use it on the track, but yeah. In terms of the bike setup, I know I just showed you before, but we are going to be on the TT bike because I really need to get back on the TT. I'm 2 weeks out from West Sydney at this point, and I have only been riding the road bike since Geelong, and so yeah, we're going to dominate that. I got 150 grams of carbs in each bottle, which is higher than I would actually need, but considering it is only a 2 and a bit hour ride, but some of those carbs is going to be for the runoff. Or it's not really a runoff. I know people call it a brick if I only take 30 or 40 minutes between the sessions. I don't really consider that a brick, but anyway. So yeah, we'll get on the bike. I'll show you a little bit of the session and where I ride, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so far, five reps down.
Sorry about that. So far, 5 reps down. Feel pretty good. I've definitely heated up. Damn, I don't know if I pricked that hard enough. So 5 reps down, kind of going between 3:10. I think the last one was 3:17. Feel pretty strong. I do love this uphill 3.3. That might be a little bit high, but I'm kind of not surprised because I've done all my reps on the road bike like a bit of an idiot recently. So first 1 or 2 sessions, you can end up using a bit more glycogen than normal. So I'm probably just going to hold there, nothing over 320, and we should be okay. So see you soon. So currently on rep 8, 2 left after this, pretty much holding 320. I'll do another lactate at the end, but I probably expect it to go up given the heart rate's high, but I am going to kind of ignore it because the effort feels quite easy right now. So check in soon. Okay, 10 of 10 done now. I really would like to understand why I sweat so much, even when it's like 5 degrees. But overall, feel pretty strong. I just did that in a terrible spot. So I did the last one just over 320. I honestly don't know what this is going to be. I'm going to guess 2.8 and hope it's gone down. 3.4. So I am kind of guessing here, but that probably just suggests, because my threshold on the road bike is about 3 millimole, this probably just suggests I'm a bit more glycolytic in the TT position because I'm less adapted, because I haven't been doing it enough. As opposed to I was actually above threshold. So that's actually a really good sign, because effectively the reason I think that's good is the slight increase in watts was proportional to the increase in lactate. So if I increased the power by 5 watts and the lactate went up by like a whole millimole, clearly I'm past that threshold where I'm accumulating exponentially. So that was pretty good. So just going to cycle home now, get some food in, and get to the run. Okay, so the ride was very solid. 2 hours, 15-ish minutes, 67K. Pretty much did exactly what I wanted. So back home, literally not even out of my cycling gear. We've got quick snack. So we've just got some banana on bread with some honey. We've got 40 ml of maple syrup here and a Red Bull. So literally it's down this 10 minutes, shower, pretty much out the door. So I'll talk to you guys on the way to the run workout. We are en route to the track. The whole T2 took a little bit longer than expected. It's been about an hour, so I'll be running by around an hour 15. plan is, as I said before, 6x2K. I think I will do a 4K warm up. I'll do rep 1 in my normal shoes, and then we'll do 5x2K in spikes, because obviously while I was eating my snack, I skimmed through Ironman Texas and watched Blumenfeld absolutely dominate. So given it's like blue maxing season, we're gonna put the spikes on, because I have actually found that doing some work in the spikes recently has massively been helping my lower leg, because I'm a person who's literally, since I started running 5-ish years ago, always dealt with pain in my lower leg, whether it's like ant tib or like the front of my shin pain or calf pain. So I have actually found my lower leg's been getting a lot stronger and stiffer through that. So where have I been? I doubt anyone's actually like looked at my performances, but like if you have, why have they all been rubbish? My last few races, there was WA in 2024, there was New Zealand in 25. I didn't make a video of Geelong in 25. And then I went to Port Mac and I DNF'd because I was vomiting the entire time on the bike, even though we literally didn't even swim. And then I didn't make it in time. And then I'd actually stopped training before Sunshine Coast. And maybe a week before Bustleton, I started to actually get back into training. So I want to be really clear. A lot of what I'm about to say is not... I didn't find the doctors very helpful, personally. And being very forthcoming, I'm a person who has very little faith in the medical profession with a lot of people. Now, not all, but a lot of people. I find a lot of doctors try and put you in boxes very, very quickly that aren't particularly useful. So I'm going to give you my timeline of it. I did see a few doctors, but honestly, I took pretty much none of their opinions on board because I didn't find them very useful. I basically just got slapped with like chronic fatigue, which is kind of a useless diagnosis because there's nothing you can do about it. So in August of 24, I ran a half marathon PB basically on a whim, and it was one of my best ever races. It was a 1:12:40 something, I believe. And I'd done no specific prep. I just rocked up and ran. I signed up 3 days before and had a really, really good event. And for me at the time, that was really promising. However, 2 or 3 days after that event, it might have even been 1 day, I came down with COVID, which I can only suspect I got somewhere at the event. So from there, that hit me like an absolute truck. I was out for like 1 to 2 weeks and honestly never fully came back. From there, I was very intolerant of training, very lethargic, getting very minimal sleep, which I can only describe as like, for anyone who's done an Ironman or even a 70.3 for some people, even though you're exhausted after that event, you really don't sleep at all. Even though you're exhausted, you're like in bed wide awake wanting to sleep. That was like me pretty much every single night, and I would only get 4, 5, maybe 6 hours sleep at best, and I complained about that in my post WA recap. So very intolerant of training, physiologically very high resting heart rate. Resting heart rate was in the mid to high 50s for the better part of 18 months. I tried a ridiculous amount of things. None of them really helped. I tried a lot of supplements. My iron did come back low, which I thought, oh, fantastic. Like, I've got the solution. I've just got to correct the iron. But even when I corrected the iron, it didn't really fix the problem. So continued on. Again, saw some doctors, had poor races at New Zealand, Geelong, Port Mac, and even Melbourne before WA in 24 as well had a terrible performance and pulled out. At the time, I blamed blisters for not putting socks on, but in hindsight, like, I just felt terrible, and I probably just didn't want to admit how bad I felt. So this whole thing went on for 18 months. And then in September, I fully quit training. I was doing a threshold session at Dandenong. It was 6 by 10 minutes or 7 by 10 minutes. And I honestly just completely cracked the shits with that session. I felt awful. I'd been training for the last 12 months reasonably consistently, and I'd been getting worse. And it just made absolutely no sense to me. So took some time off training, and my focus was, I need to correct the sleep. In my mind, if I corrected the sleep, I would fix all the problems downstream, because whatever had happened, and look, I will say I'm going to self-diagnose some sort of long COVID and some sort of autonomic nervous system dysfunction post-COVID, because that's basically, I could never shut off. But I thought, if I correct the sleep, everything downstream of that will fix itself. So that's kind of what I did. And I'm not going to go over all the things I tried. You know, my sleep hygiene's dialed in terms of not eating too close to bed, winding down. I wear those silly red light glasses at night, or blue light glasses at night with the orange lenses. I finish training early. I'm very disciplined in terms of my intensity management. So I tried all those things. Some success, but still wasn't like the big needle mover that I needed. And in no way is this going to be medical advice, but I did start experimenting with melatonin, and in particular, very high dose melatonin. So typical dosage in Australia is 2 milligrams. I am taking 12 every single night. And for me, that honestly was the start of the correction. I felt an obscene amount better after I implemented that, almost immediately, within days. Now, for those of you who have some concerns, I'm pretty bullish on melatonin now, because it doesn't operate on a negative feedback loop. So it's not something that the body will turn off endogenous production of if you are using an exogenous version. So effectively, you could take it for multiple years on end and be fine. And the day you don't take it, you're just going to go back to sleeping how you were previously, as opposed to like sleeping like considerably worse, if that makes sense. It's not like taking something like testosterone where you've really got to work hard to like PCT off it or something like that. And on top of that, melatonin is one of the chief antioxidant and anti-inflammatories that the body endogenously produces, which with a high heart rate, a low HRV, just consistently, to me, I thought that had to be a good start, because that would allow me to sleep, which it does. It allows me to stay in a deeper sleep, and it does those things. So after that, considerably fixed. And then to take it one step further, I went ahead and got myself an 8 sleep. So if any of you know what that is, it's basically a auto temperature controlled mattress. So I won't go too much into it. You can look them up. They're on podcasts everywhere. Like, if you like me, you listen to Huberman Lab, you listen to Peter Attia pre him being exposed in the Epstein files. You listen to a bunch of these podcasts. It's this mattress that tracks your sleep, and it's able to adjust the temperature of the mattress dynamically based on your sleep stages. And that was game changing for me as well. So long story short, those two fixes, I now have a resting heart rate that sits in the low 40s when I'm in my bed at home. I get great sleep. It's striking distance of impossible for me to overtrain. And that's why we're here. So this has been a longer ramble than I thought. It took the entire trip to get here. So I appreciate anyone who made it this far. But what we'll do, we'll get stuck into the workout. As I said, 6 by 2K. probably going to be 18K total. And then after the workout, maybe I'll talk about Geelong, because I felt really good in Geelong, but I had a crappy race. So I'll leave that for after the session, because I kind of just want to get this done. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the ramble, but let's get moving. I may have done this too hard. We will find out. Given it was like 5 degrees this morning, the weather's turned up a little bit. A little bit shaky. .9, probably a little bit fast. I will. So those were sort of 3:26 pace. I'll probably drop it down to like 3:28 or something, 3:29. Probably stay under 7. So that is 5 down at. I end up holding pace, but lactate's come down now, so I'll hold pace for the last one. Push the pace again a little bit, so finished at 3:24 pace. I've ended up feeling really strong, and to be honest, I have no idea if this next rep is going to come back. If it comes back lower, I think I'm out of carbs as opposed to being like super fit, so we will see. Out of carbs, maybe fit, not sure, but overall pretty good, feeling very strong, and the calves are starting to handle the spikes a lot better. So okay, so overall, really successful session. I wish I had got a bit more content for you guys at the track, but I do feel like a bit of a bum filming, so I'm like trying to be really subtle about it, to be honest, because it's just weird. Like, I don't care what anyone says, like I love watching like a good vlog as much as the next person, but like, God, you look like a dickhead while you're filming yourself. Like, there's just no way around it. Like, I respect it, you know, people wanting to document what they're doing, but it still looks stupid regardless. So yeah, ended up rep 1 in the normal shoe. I say normal shoe. I was in the Zoom Fly Tempo, which have a very thin carbon plate. So I find they give me maybe like 2 seconds on a regular shoe. And then I did the remainder in spikes, which are probably like 6 seconds per K maybe. Something along those lines. And yeah, lactate was 3.9 at rep 3, 3.5, and then 3.4, I think. So, I mean, I showed you, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so yeah, I kind of waffled a bit before about what's gone on for the last sort of year plus. So I did get to race Geelong, and if anyone happened to see, I did come last by a mile in terms of the pro field and got beaten by a ridiculous amount of age groupers. I had a lifetime best swim. It was about 25 seconds PB. Definitely still wasn't a great swim, but I definitely could have swam harder. That was kind of the bit that pissed me off, because I lost connection to a group that ended up swimming like a high 24, and I lost connection to them about 800 meters in, or probably even earlier, to be honest, actually. And the reason I'm a bit frustrated is I end up holding the gap to them for the remaining 1,200 odd meters. So if I just had a bit of courage and a bit of confidence to swim that little bit harder for maybe 300 or 400 meters, I could have had a completely different swim and come out with a group. So there was a bit of a learning, but again, first race in a while. So, and the last thing I want to do is blow up and just have a shocker, which I know you're probably not going to do in the swim, but you know. So then got on the bike and just a stinker, and I reckon it was karma, because I was, over the previous 2 weeks with all the mechanicals at New Zealand and whatnot, I had kind of been talking a bit of smack, saying, you know, I've never had a mechanical. I don't see why a lot of these pros can't seem to get their bikes right. And I had 3 mechanicals in a single race. Oh no, 2 mechanicals and drop nutrition. So as soon as I get out of transition, after literally a minute or two of pedaling, my cleats started coming loose, which is just like the wackest thing ever. I don't even understand how that comes loose. Anyway, it came loose, and then maybe 2K into the ride, I dropped the one bottle that had all 300 grams of carbohydrates in it for me. And I actually turned around to get it, because I knew I had 1 or 2 strongish bikers or strong bikers behind me. And I thought, oh, I could probably turn around and still like jump on with them. And like, I just don't tolerate gels that well. So turned around, but then turned out like the nose had caved in on the bottle and all the nutrition was on the floor. So literally unusable. And yeah, so then started riding. In terms of the cleat being loose, I was like, look, this is an inconvenience, and it's definitely going to cost me like 10 watts, because I can't pull up very effectively. Sorry, I'm just going to pull in here because I am pulling into a Macca's, but I will finish talking before I get my food, because that'll be unsightly. So I thought, yeah, this would be a minor inconvenience with the cleat, and then it just completely dropped off. So I had to then ride, and I was at the Point Henry, I think it's Point Henry, the lighthouse turnaround, for any of you that know the course. Basically, right after the turnaround, the cleat completely detached from the shoe. And as weird as it sounds, you cannot, because you've got like a carbon sole on the shoe, your pedal just slides off, so you literally can't put any pressure on the side where the pedal is come off, or where the cleats come off. So that was just ridiculous. Like, I basically cycled 4K, 3K with one leg to just get back to this intersection where the main road is. I think it's Port Arlington Road, maybe. So I could hopefully get in contact with somebody who can get the mechanic. Anyway, waited maybe 10 minutes. So I've probably lost 5 minutes pedaling back with one leg. And then I maybe lost 10, 12 minutes waiting for a mechanic to come do my cleat up. And I'm thinking, all right, whatever, is what it is. We're just gonna have like a training session, I suppose. And then, no joke, 5K after I've started riding again, and I've settled into like 280 watts instead of like the 300 I was hoping for. I'm settling in like 275, 280 instead of 295, 300. And then my right aero bar just bang, drops down completely, and it's obviously loose. So I know some people will say, well, you know, you probably could have still ridden in the aero bar potentially. But if it's loose, I don't want to then hit a pothole, have it give out completely and just stack. So I ended up riding 75K in the base bar, and that was that. So honestly, I was pretty happy. I ended up averaging about 38K an hour in the base bar at 270 watts. So I thought that was a pretty good result. And then while I was on the bike, I only ended up having like 3 or 4 gels, which is a far cry from so 100 grams of carbs, which is a far cry from the 300 I intended to have. So I kind of just jogged. I was fortunate that I had about 6 or 7 athletes that I was coaching on course. So it was, you know, a good opportunity to get some run volume in and just sort of cheer everyone on. But ended up running a 122, I think, which for a run that was like a 7 out of 10 on no carbohydrates, I'm actually rather pleased with. So yeah, one of those races that didn't go my way, but the good thing is I didn't come out of it negative, because it was my fault because I need to learn to put a bike together properly, but it wasn't my fault because I was unfit. There's nothing worse than going to a race and it turns out you're unfit. So we'll run it back at West Sydney, and yeah, please comment below if you enjoyed the more raw style vlog. Maybe I can invest in some better equipment, because right now I'm running this video on my phone. So let me know if you enjoyed it. I must say I was a really big fan of like the polished videos that my brother was helping me produce. He despite having no background in using a camera, I basically bought a nice camera, handed it to him, and he worked out how to do it pretty well. And I thought he was quite good at all the cinematic shots and the B-roll and whatnot. So unfortunately, there's none of that. There's just my crappy filming. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed it. I might try and do one of these once every 1 to 2 weeks, because I think it's cool to document, and I'm much more inclined to document all this now that I'm feeling a lot more healthy. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.